A woman holds in her arms what appears to be a baby. But it's not, it's a wooden log wrapped in blankets. The most unsettling thing about this painting is her gaze. She looks like someone who's been through something terrible, whose mind is no longer fully present. Perhaps that's why the artist titled it The Lunatic of Étretat. The painting was created in 1871, and ever since it has puzzled everyone who looks at it. Is she a mother who lost her child, a woman who was never a mother, but longed for it so deeply that she lost her grip on reality? No one knows for sure, but there's a small detail that changes everything, one that could completely alter how we see this painting, and if we interpret it correctly, maybe we're not looking at a case of madness but at a carefully disguised political message. The artist who painted this wasn't an artistic rebel, quite the opposite. Hugues Merle was a 19th-century French painter known for his gentle, delicate scenes, almost sentimental in tone. Loving mothers, children asleep in their arms, contemplative women bathed in soft light. But in 1871, something changed that year. Right after one of the greatest crises France had ever faced, Merle painted The Lunatic of Étretat, and no one saw it coming, because this is not a loving mother. There is no tenderness here, only a barefoot, disheveled woman alone beside a well, cradling a piece of wood as if it were her child. A complete departure from his previous work, a rupture with everything he had done before. Today this painting hangs in the Chrysler Museum of Art in Virginia, and although it spent years forgotten in private collections, more and more experts are beginning to agree The Lunatic of Étretat is not just an anomaly in Merle's career, it is his darkest, most emotional, and possibly most powerful painting ever. The question you're probably asking yourself is whether this woman actually existed, because Merle didn't place her in some imaginary setting, he placed her in Étretat, a real town in northern France, a small coastal village famous for its white cliffs, its grey skies, and for having inspired dozens of painters, including Monet. So why place an unbalanced woman right there? We don't know for sure, but what is clear is that every inch of this painting feels deliberately crafted to make you uncomfortable. Let's start with the obvious. The woman is sitting on the edge of a well, barefoot. Her clothes are torn, her hair loose and wild, as if it hasn't been touched in days. But the most striking thing is what she's holding in her arms, a wooden log wrapped in blankets. She's even placed a little cap on it as if it were a newborn. She cradles it, protects it as if that piece of wood could shatter at any moment. Now, look into her eyes, look closely. She's not crying, she's not screaming, she just stares at you, fixed as if you're the intruder, as if she knows you're watching and has nothing left to lose. That stare is the most disturbing part of the entire painting. The whites of her eyes are clearly visible beneath the iris. In Japan, this is known as sanpaku, a term used to describe eyes where the white is visible above or below the pupil. It's said to signal inner imbalance, a bad omen. And here Merle uses it intentionally, because everything about her body speaks of tension: the clenched knuckles, the bulging veins, the dirty feet, the strained muscles, as if she's about to get up and run, as if fear and fury were living inside her at once. For many years this painting was simply interpreted as the portrait of a mad woman, a mother who lost her child, or a woman who was never a mother but longed for it so deeply that her mind broke. But that reading, though very popular, might be misleading, because accepting what we see here as just female hysteria makes us repeat the same 19th-century prejudices, that a woman who feels deeply must be ill, that if she suffers she must be crazy. And maybe it's not that simple. Maybe this scene, disguised as a personal tragedy, is hiding something much bigger, something that isn't about one woman but about an entire country. But before the idea that this woman might represent something more than a personal tragedy, and to understand that possibility, it's important to know what was happening in France in 1871, the year Hugues Merle painted this woman. It was a very difficult moment for the country. France had just lost the war against Prussia, a defeat that not only meant territorial losses like Alsace and Lorraine but also left a deep emotional wound on the nation. On top of with that came internal conflict, the Paris Commune, a revolt that ended in bitter divisions among the French themselves. The overall feeling in the country was one of exhaustion, disappointment, and uncertainty about the future, and it's in that context that this female figure appears, alone, disoriented, holding on to something that's no longer there. The Chrysler Museum, which holds this painting in its permanent collection, mentions something interesting in the description next to the piece. Could this dark image reflect the national mood following political defeat and collective despair? And it's a valid question. The idea that this woman doesn't represent just an individual but the entire nation of France lost in its own sorrow has gained traction among some art historians now. Merle never left an official explanation of who this woman was or what he meant to express with this scene. That's why even today, there are multiple interpretations. Maybe this figure was someone real, someone Merle saw in Étretat and decided to portray, or maybe she was a product of his imagination, a symbolic character meant to express grief, or perhaps she was his way of capturing the difficult transformation France was going through at the time. The truth is, No one really knows, and that's where your interpretation comes in. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching this video all.